gonna suck your dick, pretty boy.
What's up? How you doing today? I got Sophie Lloyd on the show, all the way from England. How you doing today?
I'm really good, thank you. Yeah, very good. Very honored to be here. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. I was running a little bit late, so I'm glad we got this done. I know that I'm glad that we got this done because you were just on a little trip here in California a few weeks ago. We were trying to get that to work, and the timing just wasn't right. But yeah. I'm glad that you're here virtually, at least.
Yeah, me too. It would have been nice to in person, but I do have a drink in honor of you for the podcast.
Oh, so, man. See, I wasn't sure if you were drinking. What are you drinking right there?
Well, I was drinking a Monster anyway, and then I found this Kraken spiced rum that I got sent recently. So I just put some of that in it, and it tastes disgusting. But,
I was going to say, that does not sound like a good drink, Sophie.
No, it's not a good combination in the slightest, and I fully regret everything. But we're here now, so we're rolling with it.
That's fantastic, but I can't let you drink alone. I won't be able to hear you when I go pour my pint, but I didn't know if you were going to be drinking or not, so I didn't have anything ready. Let me come right back. Let me come right back. Let me go grab a pint.
Okay. Shall I just tell a joke while you're away?
You can hear me now, but I can't hear you.
I feel like I should tell a joke while he's doing his drink. What do you do when you come across a tiger in the jungle? Wipe it off and say sorry. Hey.
That one's going too strong.
You'll get that one later.
Thank you so much for getting me to drink at 11 o'clock in the morning.
It's okay. It's essential.
Oh, yeah. No, it's going to be a fantastic day now because of this.
Exactly. You're very welcome.
Yeah. Well, it's cheers to that.
Cheers.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
This is like the least classy drink I could have possibly
Dude, that does not sound... You don't have to drink that. If you want to go grab something else, that sounds awful. That just sounds like a really bad drink. I'm not going to
Do you know what? It's actually quite nice because it's the Mango Monster, which is actually really tasty. And the rum, it's not too bad. It's not good, but it's not like the worst thing I've ever drunk. And
I wasn't saying that like either one is probably good on their own. I just don't think that
Yeah, the combination is a bit rocky, but
yeah, whatever.
We make do with what we've got.
I love it. So how did you? Was this your first time in the States or first time in California when you were just here a few weeks ago?
Yeah, it was. Well, I went when I was like 4 to like Disney World, but that doesn't really count. But yeah, in terms of sort of going and like actually, exploring it, especially because we were going over there like for work stuff and to meet people, and yeah, that was the first time.
And yeah, you said you were over there for work stuff. I saw you post with my good friend Matt Heafy. I know that you were doing I think you're recording a music video. If I'm not
we were.
Okay, can you tell me a little bit about that?
I can. So I've got my sort of debut album coming up very soon, and basically each song on it is going to have a different vocalist from some different bands around like different sort of genres of rock, sort of some new age stuff like people I've seen on TikTok and like Instagram, as well as some super old stuff like Michael Starr from Steel Panther's going to be on it, which is really cool.
Dude.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've already recorded this stuff, right?
Yeah.
Awesome.
And then we've got, Matt and Brandon from Atreyu. I know he's like a mate of yours.
Oh, so, yeah. All those guys, you're naming all of my buddies there. That's fucking awesome.
They've all been so great as well. Like it's amazing because like I'm, grew up listening to all of them and stuff. So it's like, it was weird. Like there was this cute picture I found where I was recording my very first kind of original music where I'm in like this homemade Trivium shirt that I like ironed on myself. And then I was like, it's so weird that like, now I'm actually doing a song with Matt and it's just so full circle. Like it's been such an amazing experience to work with these people and they've just elevated it to another level.
Dude, that's awesome. I can't wait to hear it. So you say you got different people singing on it, kind of like, Slash did that a while ago. I know Nita just did that, and she had great success with her album, Nita Strauss.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like it was inspired by Slash's RNF and Art album, which is, one of my favorite albums of all time. So I think I know
someone who sang on that.
Yeah, there's loads. There was like Lemmy, there was Chris. Yeah, just a few people. Sorry. But yeah, and then obviously Nita did it, and her song was amazing. So it was just sort of, it's a long time coming. Like we've been writing this album for like, you know, since pre-lockdown days, and it just keeps getting pushed back because, you know, everyone's, you know, busy with different stuff and life gets in the way. But finally, you know, it's coming to fruition and hopefully should be out later this year.
Awesome. And when you say it gets pushed back, and obviously for obvious reasons, did that force you to rethink some things, rewrite some things? Were you collaborating with some of these artists, or were you just kind of like, here's your homework, go ahead and do it?
Yeah, pretty much. Like it started out just me and my boyfriend Chris, who's also sort of my drummer. We were sort of, you know, when lockdown started, we were writing quite a lot, and we wrote sort of loads of songs. Then we were like, actually, we don't really like these that much. So we sort of rewrote the whole thing, and yeah, we just sort of sent it out to people that were interested, and then they put the vocals on top. And if they wanted to do anything to the structure, you know, they could if they wanted to. So it was pretty collaborative in that effect. But
your cat's there. What's the cat's name?
Luna.
Luna. Okay.
She just she was just spayed the other day, but so she should be wearing her cone, but she always manages to get rid of it. And then we got her this really embarrassing suit to wear.
Oh, man. Does she love wearing it or what?
Oh no, she hates it. She will literally just stand there like, she like won't move at all. It's so.
So you
funny
finally had her
her
spayed, because I was watching a few of your videos on YouTube, and there was one video, I think you were talking about your Kiesel guitars, and she was moaning in the background or very, yeah, and you kept commenting.
She's so horny. She's literally like the horniest girl I've ever met. Like if she was a human, she would definitely be like a stripper or something, because she's insane. And she even still now, like we only got spayed the other day, she's still like prowling around when I'm like,
okay.
And I'm like, you should be resting, but you know, she's on the hunt.
Yeah,
we love a girl that knows what she wants.
Well, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, I never had cats growing up, or I don't have cats now, so I was that's not something I'm familiar with.
Yeah, well, we wanted a dog, but we live in a London flat, so we were like, we'll probably get a cat for now and then get a dog like later on, because I really want like a husky, but huskies are like so out of control.
Yeah, they're pretty tough,
like
but they're beautiful dogs though.
I know, they're gorgeous. They're like mystical beings.
Yeah. So you said you're in a London flat, like proper London, obviously, or
Well, we're in Putney, which is sort of like South London, so it's not sort of like in the centre. It's just south of the river. It's like a really nice place, actually. So, but we're moving out. I say that we're moving out in a month.
Oh, okay.
Because the city is just like so expensive and so busy. And now, you know, I don't know, with the war happening, I'm just like, I just don't want to be in the city.
Yeah, I mean, that's it's so crazy what's going on. I mean,
I know, it's awful. It's just like, it's weird that it's something like you have to like worry about now. And
it seems like,
sorry to bring the tone down.
No, it's okay. I mean, this is what the podcast is all about, is talk about what's going on in our lives. And, you know, we'd have to be under a rock not to have seen what's going on, obviously. And it's so sad, because I tweeted about it, a few weeks ago, and it happened. I waited a couple days, because I'm not really a political person one way or the other.
Yeah.
It's just not my nature. And I hate when people who aren't political weigh in on stuff. But you know, it's more so like, for me, I just look at it as a human race thing, where it's just like, it's so fucked up. Like, no matter how far we come, there's always an asshole around. There's always someone who has to fuck it up. You know, it's like camaraderie starting to feel too good. Everyone's happy that we're out of this lockdown and getting past the last shitty thing that was happening in the world.
Literally, like we just got out of it.
And it's like, come on, can we just like relax for a minute? And it's like, nope, someone's got to fuck with it.
Nope. Next year the aliens will probably land or something.
Well, that would be cool, at least. Like, that would at least be like, fuck, man, I didn't see that one coming.
Yeah, I guess.
This one, I mean, you could kind of see coming with the history a little bit, because it unfortunately repeats itself all the time, right?
Yeah, definitely.
But no matter what no matter what we do, it continues to happen. And obviously, my heart's out for anyone involved in being, personally problematic and whatever it is for them. Like, it's however it comes to be. I'm just really sad for all those innocents out there that are having to deal with this.
I just hope it manages to get resolved soon, because it's just like looking very scary.
Yeah,
scary
of course.
World.
Well, now I don't know how to segue out of that, but let's get back to you being in California. There's no great way to segue out of that, is there?
No, there's not. There's no smooth transition there.
No. But I'll do my best to attempt to get us back on track here. So you're out in California, as you said, for the first time, doing some business, getting some things done. Unfortunately, we weren't able to hook up because you had you got timing wise, and if I'm not mistaken, one of the days we were attempting to get together, you actually contracted the coronavirus, right?
Yeah, that's right. So typical.
Yeah.
So annoying.
Everyone's gotten it at this point. There's
I know.
No shame.
I was like, yeah, I was so ready. I was so excited. I was like, yes, gonna go to California, gonna go to like Saddle Ranch and like all these places. And then I was like, oh, I guess I'm just going to stay in my hotel room for a week.
Well, one of the things I know that I heard that you were excited to visit was a Walmart. Were you actually able to visit a Walmart, and how did you
we were. Yes, I was so excited for all like the shitty things everyone says.
I gotta know, why were you so excited about it, and how did you find it?
I don't know. It's just everyone's like, oh, Walmart. And I was so excited for Cheesecake Factory and Lobster. What was
Red
it?
Lobster.
Red Lobster.
Oh, yeah.
I was so excited for. And Denny's. Oh, love a bit of Denny's.
Wow. You went to all the worst places. This is amazing.
I did.
That is like
I had to really experience it.
That is so funny. Well, tell me about your experience, and I'm interested to see, someone, for their first time is coming over and experiencing Denny's and Red Lobster and all these places that I avoid like the plague.
I realized I was so excited, and then as soon as I sat down, I was like, oh, this is it. I don't know what I thought was going to happen. Like fireworks would suddenly like explode or something, but like, yeah, I sort of sat down and I was like, oh, this is very underwhelming. And
how did you find the people? I mean, like that's one of the main things that I will say I love about a good Denny's, a good Walmart is the people watching, the people interaction. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love a good Wally World stop when I'm on tour, like middle of the night. We bring the buses up and we just load up, especially at the beginning of the tour. I'll get that's the only place where you get literally everything. So you stop in, I'll get like a barbecue, especially for on the summer tours, and throw it underneath the bus so that I could barbecue on the days like behind, backstage and shit. And so just keep telling me a little bit about your experience at these places.
Well,
I'm very intrigued.
The thing is with Walmart, it's so overwhelmingly absolutely massive. Mm-hmm. Like I made this mistake of I just wanted to go in there and like buy like a packet of crisps, and I was probably in there for about like
chips
an hour.
for everyone in America, by the way.
They sorry. I made that mistake so many times where I like asked for a side of chips, and I was like, wait, what?
and chips are French fries to you guys, right?
Yeah, it was really weird. But I like went in and I was in there for like an hour. I ended up playing arcade games like the Simpsons arcade like claw machine thing. I was like, how has this happened? I've literally come in for a packet of crisps and now I'm in another mystical universe.
So what did you end up buying? I mean, were you so overwhelmed that you still stuck to the crisps, as you say, or is it?
No, we bought a whole bunch of stupid stuff. We bought loads of just like stupid Walmart. I feel like Walmart apparel is like it's like a particular style that I wanted to be involed in.
You got involved in. If you came out with a bunch of stupid shit from Walmart, then you did it the American way. And
exactly,
I'm very proud of you.
Was great. But yeah, it was so good. Like everyone we met there was so nice. We did some amazing stuff. We went on some really beautiful hikes as well, and like
where were some of these hikes at? I might know a few of them because you were mostly in Southern California, right?
Yeah, we went to Topanga. I'm going to mispronounce it. Topanga Park.
Topanga
Canyon,
yeah.
And we saw like the big Eagle Rock.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it's called that. And it was sort of all around there. Basically, was where we were hiking. Like I'm not sure of the specific trail names or anything, but and we stayed around kind of like on Sunset Strip pretty much. So it was kind of cool to see that side of it. And then, we sort of went and we had a car, so we went and drove to like Beverly Hills and saw all like the beautiful people and stuff.
Did you do the quintessential walk on the Hollywood Walk of Fame? Did you go check out the stars?
Yeah, of course. You have to find all the stars.
I remember the first time, even being, born and raised here in Southern California, the first time I walked on the stars was my grandmother took me when I was like 7 years old or something like that. And it's only a 45-minute drive from where I'm at, but I hadn't been at that time. She bought me, it's weird. I don't know why I'm talking about this right now, but it just sparked a memory that she bought me this little Mickey Mouse watch. And it was the first regular watch that I'd ever owned.
Yeah.
And I was huge into
do you
Michael
still have
Jackson,
it?
so no, I wish I did. That's something I should have. But
Yeah.
I was really into Michael Jackson, so she took me to see Michael Jackson's Star at the time.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, we found Michael Jackson's as well. Took a picture of it because my mum's a big fan of Michael Jackson. So that was really
for
cool.
his music.
Yeah.
Let's just
Not
be
for
clear
his
about
lifestyle choices.
I mean, I don't know. I just know rumors, and I want to pretend that didn't happen because I'm just a big fan of the
Exactly,
music.
yeah.
So
We'll leave Neverland.
yeah, I mean, it's so shitty though, because especially these days, I'm almost not allowed to like that music. But I'm just at this point, I'm like, fuck it, man. I gotta be able to separate the two. Otherwise,
Yeah,
I'm just gonna be bummed all the time.
Yeah, exactly. Like I think the like one of my next Shred versions coming out is "Beat It" by Michael Jackson. So
Nice.
Hopefully that goes okay. I feel like it's sort of people are starting to just sort of appreciate the music again. And
Yeah, and the fact that
it's a weird one.
the late great Eddie Van Halen guitar solo on that, of course.
Yeah,
is what,
exactly. Like it's iconic. It's one of those, like, if you're a guitarist, you have to learn that song, no matter what.
Yeah, absolutely. So real quick before we get off that trip, what were some of the other highlights? Was there like one thing other than what we've already discussed? I mean, you said you're on the Sunset Strip. I know you've done a lot of the covers of Guns N' Roses, Motley Crue, a lot of these bands that came through right off that Sunset Strip. And for you, I mean, for me growing up 45 minutes away, it wasn't that crazy for me to know where that was. You coming all the way from London to here, what did that mean to you, being on the Sunset Strip and seeing those bars and those venues that all of my favorite artists too played through?
Yeah, it was just so like iconic. It's like just such a weird feeling knowing, like, especially, like when we didn't manage to go in, but seeing like Saddle Ranch and stuff, like I've heard so many people talk about that as like the place to go and all like the paparazzi and stuff. And I was like, I was like a kid in a candy store. Every time we drive past something, I'd be like, oh my God, take my picture. But it was amazing. And like we got to go up to the Kiesel factory as well, which was really, really cool.
I've never been there.
I
didn't even realize that's in LA. Is that in LA as well?
Yeah, well, it's in San Diego, so it's a couple hours away.
Okay.
So yeah, we got a car. We went there first, and then we drove down to LA for like the last week or so. So yeah, we got to go there and sort of meet everyone there, which was so nice because I've been working with those guys for like a really long time, and it was so nice to finally meet them and sort of actually see how much just like effort and love goes into like making those guitars. It's so cool to like see the entire process. So.
Yeah, I mean, I saw you doing some demonstrations of those guitars on your YouTube channel. It looks like you guys have a really great relationship together, and I think that's really cool. It's really key too, for everyone has a different playing style. And to that point, actually, I do have to ask you, what's your beef with fucking Floyd Rose? Like, you got like this. You were just like going off about Floyd Rose when you got your first Grammy.
I hate Floyd Roses. I
That's
really do
amazing.
have a beef. They're so annoying that it's just, okay, I'll tell you why, because I lose everything. So like a lot of the songs are in like, my songs are sort of, some are in drop D, some are in drop C. So there's like a lot of sort of tuning that goes on. And I never, ever, I never know where an Allen key is, ever. I must have bought about 50 different sets of Allen keys, and I've got all of the sets except for the one I need. There's always that one gap, which is the one Allen key I bloody need. So now I don't have any Floyd Roses on my guitar. I just have one on this Manson here, because it's made for silly sounds. So that's kind of what I use it for. But I just can't. I get the point, but I'm passionately against them.
I get it, for like, if you're for your playing and what you do, it makes perfect sense because you are going in a lot of different keys, and if you're losing your Allen wrench, yeah, that's a pain in the ass.
Exactly.
I've done that before when changing guitar strings, and I'm just like, at this point, I just leave the top knot off, so that I could go between, and then
that's quite a good idea. But then there's no point in the Floyd Rose if you're just leaving it on.
Well, I'm not a shredder anyway. I'm playing rhythms. So
Yeah.
I honestly don't even have a reason for a Floyd Rose, because, as I said, when I'm tracking stuff and writing, I'm just doing rhythms and stuff anyway. But my guitar player Sin has Floyd Rose, and I play his guitars. So that's just kind of what I'm stuck with.
Like, to be fair, they are like, I love a whammy bar. I don't have a whammy bar at the moment on my main Kiesel, but my next one I'm going to get definitely has like a trem, but it probably won't have the Floyd Rose. So I don't know how it'll like affect the tuning too much. So
yeah, that's the thing. Like if you're going big with some dime bag stuff, you know, it's hard to keep it in key or in tune when you're going.
Yeah,
big for
that's I need to figure it out really, because I love. I found this like sound on the Manson. I'll show it to you quickly.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know whether you've even heard of them. It's like the Sustainiac pickups.
Oh, the Sustainiacs. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, and like I am absolutely in love with that just stupid, like squealy, never-ending like harmonics. I think there's so much fun.
Awesome.
I'm having so much fun with them, and like the whammy bar and the kill switch and stuff. So I've been using that, and like what I want to do is put a Sustainiac in a Kiesel as well at some point to try and have that like smooth, like shreddy guitar, but being able to make these crazy sounds as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I know that Sin did that on his I think his first Schecter. He put Sustainiac in there when we were.
Oh, does he have one as well?
He did.
Oh,
I don't know
awesome.
if he still does. He's done so many different fucking guitars at this point. I don't know. But and he's got his own pickups now. He's doing a bunch of different shit. He's always telling me about his new endeavors and his new pedals and his new amps and shit. And I'm just like, all right, it sounds
Cool,
awesome,
dude.
man. Like, and it always works. It always ends up working great for us. So
Yeah.
So he's always doing that. So I am familiar with what you're
That's
talking about.
awesome. Yeah, I've never actually been able to try one of his guitars, actually.
Well-
I've always wanted to try one, but oh my God, Lena, sorry. Don't
That's
knock
okay.
over my
Yeah, well, you
anything.
know, you know somebody now if you ever want to try those out. So
Oh, I might have to take you up on that.
yeah, no worries at all. I want to get back to some of the other extracurricular activities that you do. Like, I know that you did a cover of Halloween theme song. You did Ghostbusters. I heard one of your bucket list things to do is go on a ghost hunting trip. Like what does all this entail for you? You're a big horror
You've done
movie
good
fan?
research. Well, I'm super into like horror movies and like ghost stuff. I'm so into it. I don't know whether I like believe in ghosts particularly, but like we've had a lot of creepy stuff happen. So I'm just so interested in like the idea of it. And yeah, I love like the old classic horror movies, you know, like Halloween and, you know, Nightmare on Elm Street and everything I'm super, super into. So I don't know, find it just so interesting. Like my last music video I did was at one of the most haunted place in the UK, which was really cool. It was in like this kind of old prison cell in Nottingham called the Galleries of Justice, where they would like lock up loads of prisoners and loads of, you know, you can go and see like the stocks where people died and stuff. And that was really, really creepy. Like me and Chris found it because we went on a ghost hunting tour there, like where you stay overnight and you sort of do all these weird like seance-y stuff.
Wait, you had to do seances and shit?
Yeah, well, we did like Ouija. Well, I'm pretty superstitious, so I didn't do the Ouija board. I sort of watched from afar because you know that stuff can like fuck up your life if you like if you mess
I'll
it
take
up.
your word for it. I don't think I've done a Ouija board, or if I have.
Have you not?
I don't know.
That kind of surprises me. You
I don't
seem
know
like
if
the type
I
of
have.
guy to do it in your youth.
I probably have and don't remember because like then it just like changed my life, and you know it's just like I don't know.
Yeah, well, maybe when we meet up in person, we can do.
All right, let's do that.
We'll get really drunk.
Next
and do
time
Ouija board.
next time we're together, we'll film a little bit of it, and we'll do the Ouija board together. It'll be a
Yes.
special little episode.
But yeah, I find that stuff really interesting. So you know, that sort of. I try to, you know, whatever because I'm such a fan of like Halloween and stuff. I always want to do like covers of it. And just sort of I love like the music in it. Like John Carpenter is such a great composer as well for like that kind of suspenseful, cool, you know, diminished harmonic minor-y stuff.
I couldn't agree more. It's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
But you did mention there, you don't necessarily believe in ghosts, but you've seen a lot of creepy shit happen. Would you like to go a little deeper into that? Explain to me like what are some of the weird shit that you've seen happen? And maybe it's on this ghost hunting tour you were just explaining, or otherwise.
Well, like growing up, I was always this is going to make me seem actually crazy. So
Let's go. Crazy Sophie Lloyd.
like growing up, I would always like, since I was like 4 or 5, I would always, you know, when I'd lie in bed, if ever I was ever sad or scared, I'd always picture this sort of woman, and she was really specific looking. She was like an old woman, and she would always kind of stand by my bed and put her hand on my shoulder, and just sort of it was like a comforting thing.
Okay.
And even to this day, sometimes if I'm really like sad or something, I don't feel it, but like I kind of picture her as like a comforting thing. And yeah, growing up, ever since as far as I can remember, there was always like that sort of presence. I never like I don't think I ever like I don't know. I don't remember ever physically seeing anything. It was more of just like a feeling. And then she had a husband, in theory, with like this black top hat who would ride this black horse up and down the garden. This sounds really weird, I know.
No.
But this was
I'm just picturing. I'm bringing it all in.
Yeah, this is kind of like what, like growing up, this was kind of what I always sort of felt. And when I was older, as we were moving out of that house, we had, because we had a lot of weird things happen where we'd hear like a bang and all of like the posters and like, oh, Luna, go away. And all of like, all of like the posters and things on the wall would all be like on the floor, like everything would all be on the floor. And like in all of the rooms upstairs, we had this one weird thing where, basically me and my sister were outside filming. Again, this was when we were really, really young. I was like, 5 or 6 or something. And it's all on the timestamp where my mum says, okay, goodbye, and leaves. And then she comes in and we're still filming out in the garden. And then my mum was just sort of started shouting at us and was like, who did it? And we went upstairs, and our dad's like side table, my dad was at work at this time, was all spilled out all over the floor. And a note from his recently deceased grandmother was on the window ledge and was like crumpled up. So yeah, I'm sure there's some sort of explanation, but I remember my mum was so angry, and so I ended up taking the blame just because I wanted her to stop like, sort of being angry. So I was like, I did it. I was just curious, but I didn't do it. But yeah, so there was a lot of like...
Have you told her that since? Like,
yeah, I've told her since, and she was like we all remember it so clearly. So it's like, I'm sure there was maybe something happened that like I can't remember, or I don't know. But that's the adult brain now coming in.
Right, coming in. Absolutely.
But back then I was like, wow, we're haunted. But yeah, so there was a lot of weird stuff. So we actually had this sort of psychic lady come round and sort of do a reading. And she said, I'd never told anyone, that I saw that woman. And she was just like, there's a woman here called Violet. And she's like quite an old woman. And, sort of described her exactly. And then was like, and she has a husband who wears a top hat and he has a black horse. And like literally described everything. Like I'd never met this lady before, described everything that I was like, I had always sort of thought about since I was like a kid. And I was like, okay, that's weird. I've never really like mentioned that to like my mum and dad particularly. I've like sort of briefly mentioned it, but I never went into how like specific it was. So
well, after you tell them that, I'll have to do a follow-up call with you because I'm very interested in what their reaction is to that.
Yeah, me too. Because like, whenever me or my sister would kind of mention it to my parents, they would sort of, because they, loved the house, they would get kind of like annoyed that we were like being like, oh, the house is haunted. They'd be like, no, don't be silly, because I guess they didn't want to bring that bad energy in. But like we had like 2 attics. We had like a main attic and then like one on the side. Oh. And when we moved in, there was like loads of like animal like skeletons in there and stuff, which was like kind of
wait, like
really
preserved,
creepy.
Like preserved animal skeletons, or like
yeah.
Whoa.
I'm
like
I'm
the
not
previous
sure.
people, like the previous people who lived there, like knew they were up there and were like collecting them, or like they just died up there.
Yeah, it didn't look like they weren't in like a sort of box or anything. They were just sort of, in random places. So I imagine they just sort of died, but it was just like a kind of little creepy
what
things
kind of animals
like that.
though? Like I would imagine like probably rats and stuff like that would be pretty common.
One looks like a sort of cat. So it was about this was the main one I remember because I remember we were like, oh, the cat skull. Because it was like it was
cat
like
went up there
big.
And died, huh?
Yeah, something like that. And like there were like lots of like squirrels and just sort of it was just kind of it just had a weird vibe, And like there was this one room that like it was closed off for ages that we never ever went in for like 5-10 years or something when we lived there. And then we sort of went in there, eventually redecorated and moved all the furniture, and then it felt a lot better. But like there was this one room that felt so weird that we literally all of us just were like, okay, let's never go in there.
Whoa, that's
so it's just
crazy.
kind of weird. Yeah, and like at my last flat, like we like at one point like the attic door like swung down really hard, like it literally been like pushed from the outside and like hit the ceiling and made like a hole in the ceiling. So like that was really scary, and I was there on my own, and I was just like, let's just pretend that didn't happen, carry on working.
Well, you should just said hi to Violet again. That was
yeah, exactly. I should have been like, yo, Violet, how's it going?
So you think Violet had any relation to your grandmother, or your great grandmother that crumpled up the paper?
I think like my great grandmother, I think, was called Violet. So I don't know. Like obviously, I now look at it from like I'm a lot more skeptical and kind of scientific now, where I'm like, well, there's always explanations for everything. Like, so I always, I don't really think about it too much, like now, but it's just I just find it kind of interesting,
Well, no, I'm intrigued by all this. I haven't seen or even felt a lot of that stuff before. So when people explain these things or tell these stories, I am more of a skeptic, I'll say. But I do still find it very intriguing because, I mean, I'm not a person who sits here and says like, oh, I'm fucking 37 years old. I've seen and done it all. I know everything that there is to know about this fucking universe. So there could be so many explanations. Maybe it's not ghosts. Maybe it's another dimension, because I am very scientific.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. Yeah, it's like there's so much we don't know, and it's just really weird to think about. But like I've never like seen anything, but it's just always been weird things happening around me, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, so I always wonder if it's more of a thing where time, we think of it, the only way we can conceptualize it as this linear thing, but it's really not. If you really think about it, that doesn't make any fucking sense at all for time to be so linear. So what if there's different times happening like next to each other? You know what I mean? Like that's what I've always wondered.
Exactly.
If
that's like the fourth dimension. Right. Like, that there's like all of these timelines happening at once. What's that movie? I can't remember what movie it is. Oh, it's like I think it's Insidious.
Insidious, yes, Insidious, such a great movie.
A door will open and they'll be like, oh, it's a ghost, but it's actually them in like this other like dream dimension, and like it's so it's just really weird to think about. Like I don't know, it sounds crazy, but who knows, man?
No, I mean crazier things have happened. I think. I mean, it's just, and we learn so much every time as long as we're open to it. I think that's a great thing that everyone at home watching too. Keep your mind open to shit. You don't know anything. Even the smartest people in our history would have to admit they only know so much, and that's just the fucking reality of it. So
yeah, it's true.
Keep your horizons open. Like don't rule out anything right away. Of course, there are some things that are just fucking ridiculous that you got to rule out. But
like reptile people and like.
I mean, well, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe in a different dimension. Who knows? But.
Who knows? Yes. It's like Rick and Morty, the dimension where we're all sitting on pizza, ordering chairs or whatever.
I love Rick and Morty. I love Rick and Morty.
It's the best, isn't it?
I've said it on the show before, but I had a spell where I wasn't able to partake in marijuana for a long time, and it just didn't vibe with me for a while. And then I recently got back into it. It was like, oh, here you are, my old friend. I love you again. and I started watching Rick and Morty, like getting high and watching Rick and Morty. It's a brilliant combination.
Yeah, I feel like it was like built for. Like specifically designed for you to get high and watch it. Like,
oh, absolutely!
It like adds a whole nother layer.
Do you partake in getting high? Or you just strictly
not much. No, like occasionally I will, but generally no. It gives me it makes me feel a bit sick. So right. I haven't really. But I feel like I haven't ever really tried any really like good stuff.
Well, you're out here in California. It's like one of the best places. You're also
I know, but
pretty close to
anyone.
Amsterdam, and I love going to Amsterdam and getting some of that too. But
yeah, Amsterdam would be good. We want to go to Amsterdam actually and get some like shrooms and just
the little truffles. It just so happens like every European tour in the winter time. My birthday happens to be November 18th, and we always have a day off around Amsterdam because I thank my booking agents for that. And I get to go out and try the truffles and shroom and go out and walk the canals and just have a good time in Amsterdam.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I've never done like that before, so we want to try it. We're going to book it for last year, but then UK went into lockdown, so I think for this year we're going to try and book to go to Amsterdam for our birthdays or something.
All right. Well, we'll keep in touch if you want any recommendations. I've been there quite a few times, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. Yeah, you need to give me the hot spots.
Oh, absolutely. There's some fun stuff that I'll explain to you, and you'll be like, "There's no fucking way I'm going there," and I'll be like, "Just trust me. Just trust me."
Isn't there like a theater where like you can like peek through a little hole and watch people like have sex?
There's that. Okay, I'll just tell you right now. One of the best live sex shows I go to every time when I'm starting to peak is like my favorite thing. I've brought my wife with me. It's not a sexual creepy thing for us at all. It's just like you're like, oh my God, this truly exists. And like they have fun on stage. It's a couple that has sex like all throughout the day. And then like they'll have bachelor parties and they'll bring people up and they'll do tricks. She'll put a marker up there and like draw like your name on your chest and shit.
That's
and, like,
so awesome.
And like when you're peaking,
I wanna go.
and while that's happening, it's like right there in the red light district. You can't. I mean, there's a few of them. And you can't. I think we always end up at the same one, or they're very similar. But like, it's super fun, especially like again, I'm sure people go in there to get aroused and stuff, but that's not really my vibe. I'm going in there just to experience like. Yeah,
it's just like a sort of, oh my God, I can't believe this really exists type of thing. Right. And it's just like amazing to see.
And like, no judgment either. It's just kind of like, wow, like I don't know about for you, but when I travel, I like seeing like, I like ingratiating myself with what different people do. Like maybe that's not a great representation of all of the country, but that's still part of them. Like, I mean, that's still like I don't think Walmart is a great representation of America, but maybe it is. I don't know.
America to me is just Walmart and Cheesecake Factory.
And that's fine. I mean, it's definitely a part of it, you know, like, I mean, no judgment whatsoever. It's just, I love that. I love seeing the way people interact with one another and come from different walks of life, because you can't have that sort of judgment if you've never walked in their feet or in their shoes. You know what I mean? You never, because you don't know how would I have grown up differently if I grew up in a different part of the world, if I grew up, you know, it's just a lot of different stuff.
Yeah, that's why I love traveling. It's just meeting all the different people from like, you know, and just seeing how everyone lives their lives, because it's so interesting.
It's so interesting getting the different cuisine and everything too, like Cheesecake Factory. Exactly. I mean, you got everything there.
Exactly.
How overwhelming is that menu though? Like honestly,
it was crazy. Like, you know, I almost had a fucking panic attack looking at it. I was like, oh my God, I don't know. Even like the cocktail menu, I was like, jeez. But I ended up just ordering like everything. There was only 3 of us. We got like 6 mains and like. The overbuy. You went full American. Yeah. Oh, we went all in. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's the American way, the overbuy.
Exactly.
Like you just got to get in there. You don't really know if you're going to be able to eat it all, but you just you want to try it all.
Give it a good go. And if not, you just take it home and to have it in the morning for breakfast.
That's the idea. That's the idea. You mentioned the cocktail menu though. What are some of your favorite cocktails or go-to drinks when you're out? Or I don't know about for you, but for me, it depends on the vibe, depends on what's going on, you know, if I'm going to go cocktail or glass of wine, beer, whatever, like what are your drinks of choice?
Yeah, same. Like you said, it kind of depends on the vibe. If we're just sort of going out for a meal, generally I don't drink very much. Like if I drink, I'll drink to get drunk, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And so usually I will always have a mango monster, but usually it'll be with vodka instead, and which is probably really bad for me and going to give me an early onset heart attack. But I don't. At least I'll die happy.
No, you're still young enough. Your body starts to warn you about that a little bit, because you'll start getting anxiety from mixing those two. I know when I was in my 20s, it was Red Bull vodkas, and like I had to realize, okay, your body starts telling you. That's not really good for you anymore. So if it hasn't hit you yet, you're good, Sophie. Just keep going.
Okay, I'll look out for the signs though. Yeah. That's good to know. But but the thing is, even when I drink, I can drink literally I'm such a heavyweight. I can drink like 5 double vodka like mangoes and still be so sleepy. Still be like, I'm so tired. Like the caffeine like doesn't even kick in. It's like weird as hell.
I was thinking that you were saying you're a heavyweight on the alcohol side, but no, you're just talking about the caffeine.
Yeah, no, I'm talking.
Awesome.
But like I always hated wine, and I still don't like it, but I'll drink it because I know that gets me drunk really quick. Again, like I only really drink to get drunk rather than to sort of. I'm not one that's like, ooh, I'm getting like hints of grape.
Well, you know, you are still in your 20s. I wasn't there yet either.
That's what everyone was saying. Yeah.
When you get in your 30s, you start appreciating the flavors.
That's what everyone's been saying, but it's just never happened yet. But maybe one day, who knows?
Maybe it won't happen for you. I know plenty of people who still just drink just because they want to change their mind real quick. You know.
But yeah, and then I love a porn star as well, and the
What's
drink
a porn
too.
star?
Do you say what's a porn star?
I mean, I know what a porn star is on my internet search. But what's a porn star when it comes to a drink?
Yeah, and the drink is quite nice as well. No, it's basically, it's like, I actually don't even know what it is. It's some type of alcohol with some type of fruity thing. And then you get a little shot of like champagne or Prosecco, and then you pour that in. Porn stars are great. I love cocktails. Anything sort of fruity I really like. And what's it called? The Long Island as well is always a good shout.
Oh, I love a good Long Island. That was definitely my jam in the 20s, especially bang for your buck. I mean, you got everything in there, and you only need a couple of those to really get you going, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But we covered the cocktails real quick. We didn't even ask. You said you love the classics of some horror movies. What are some of your all-time favorites? Not just the franchise, but maybe the specific movie, or maybe even your favorite recent one.
Well, what my this sounds weird. My comfort horror movie was always Evil Dead.
Comfort horror movie, yes. That is such a great term. I love that, and I agree with you. I mean I lean more on Army of Darkness, but I love Evil Dead as well.
Yeah, Evil Dead's just so silly. Like, you know,
Yeah.
I want to suck your dick, pretty boy. Just, it makes me so happy. I'm like, yes, what a queen.
I love that that's your favorite. That's the line you pull out.
That's the line.
Yeah, that's going to be the clip out later. Like, Sophie says, I want to suck your dick, pretty boy.
I want to suck your dick, pretty boy. It's so good.
That's fucking fantastic.
I'm trying to think of more modern ones I've seen. I haven't actually seen. I feel like not that many good movies have come out recently, and
in the horror genre.
Yeah, or
they've
at
kind
least
of gotten a little artsy lately, haven't they? And I appreciate them. Don't get me wrong. I'm not knocking it. It's just that's not the horror that I grew up on. It's not the horror that I gravitate towards, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same. Like, I like the sort of storyline stuff. Like, I kind of like goofy horror movies as well. I liked Cabin in the Woods. That was one of the first movies that got me into horror.
Dude, the ending, when the beginning, tying back to that ending when he pulls down the shotgun.
I know.
And the whole time the guy just refuses to drink water. He's the only one that survives because he refuses to drink. I love that movie.
It's so good. Like, that was the main one that sort of really got me into horror movies and got me to be like, you know, this crazy fan. I went to watch the Foo Fighters horror movie recently, Studio 666.
Oh, I haven't seen it yet. Tell me. I mean, no spoilers. I have a 5-year-old son, and I've been a little busy. Like, to get away and go see that movie.
Yeah.
I just haven't found the time yet, but it's on my list for sure.
It's surprisingly, like, if you like sort of like goofy horror movies, it's very much got that kind of old school, like, I don't even know what to compare it to, but like the old school thing where like the effects are kind of shit, but like in a cool way. Do you know what I mean? And it's like some of like the cameos in it from other like, you know, musicians and stuff are really fucking cool. And it's got a really cool storyline.
It makes perfect sense if you know the Foo Fighters for all their music videos and everything that they've done. I mean, you know that they've got a good sense of humor, and the fact that they're going for a horror thing, you know, if you followed them a little bit, you would know that this actually isn't something out of left field. This like makes perfect sense for the band. Exactly.
And it's not like, it's cool that it's not just like, you know, a documentary or something that like a lot of other bands doing. It's things so different.
Well, they've already done so many of those documentaries.
Yeah, exactly.
Over the years now, too.
It's nice to have something that's like just really different and cool, and like, yeah, it's great. You should definitely see it. It's a lot of fun. It's very funny.
I definitely will. Speaking on some music things though, real quick, I did read somewhere that as far as your shredding stuff, your influences are pretty obvious to me. You know, you got a lot of the dime bag, a lot of the just shreddier vibrato harmonics and all those kind of awesome things. But what I found surprising was that you kind of cite some more like alternative or punk rock bands for a lot of your rhythmic style.
Yeah. So yeah, like you pretty much hit the nail on the head there. Like my sort of lead playing comes a lot from Dimebag and Zakk Wylde and sort of Joe Satriani as well, some of like the more kind of instrumental music. And I love that, but also I grew up listening to sort of quite a lot of like old punk stuff like Misfits and Offspring and Pennywise. and that sort of kind of fast rhythm playing and stuff is, I love how much emotion is in it, if you know what I mean, in punk rock, where it's like, it doesn't really necessarily matter how, you know, if it sounds good or not, you know, like a lot of Black Flag stuff, like you listen to it and you're like, wow, sounds like the drums are played on like a cardboard box, but it's like so good.
Yes.
It's like, that's like because there's so much just like love and passion in it. And that's what I love about like that genre specifically, is like, it's so just aggressive and raw.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And that's sort of what I like to bring to kind of the rhythm playing aspect of it. It's a lot of like those sort of just big power chords, and then sometimes mixed with a little like some top lines that I always kind of cite like Van Halen a bit for top lines. A lot of like the triad sort of chordal stuff like will sit on top, and like some harmony bits. So I sort of try and mix in a lot of different things. You know, I also really like blues stuff like Joe Bonamassa and Rory Gallagher and everything. That's like some of my dad's favorite stuff that he always used to listen to. So I got really into that. So I'm sort of I like to kind of bring in a lot of different aspects. Like this album we've got coming out, it's so each song on it is so different. Like we've got like a really kind of metal one that we did, you know, with Matt Heafy, and then we've got like this super like pop punk one as well, which was a bit like out of left field, which we've done with this guy called Loveless, who is like this amazing sort of pop punk singer on TikTok. And then we've got some, he's awesome. And then we've got you know, some more modern rock stuff, and then some old school kind of cheesy classic rock, you know, sort of inspired by, you know, Van Halen. And it's just like a whole mix of different stuff. And that's sort of what we've been trying to do, is just take all the genres and put them together. I've said this album is like, I wrote this album for my 15-year-old self. So everyone who like, you know, I listened to when I was younger, I've tried to, you know, make it for that girl, not make it for like anyone else, not really make it for my, you know, audience or anything. I'm making it for my younger self. And that's sort of, you know, what I would listen to back then. And it's really cool that I've been able to work with people that I actually listened to back then as well, which is so crazy. So yeah, it's been really nice to be able to bring some of those genres together.
Right. No, I think that's awesome. That's the way to write, really, just for yourself. You know, you can't write for other people, because then you're forcing things, and that's not.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
I did notice though, like when you go back to some of your early videos that we were talking about, I saw you do some reactions to your old videos.
Oh no!
Yeah, we have to talk. We have to talk about that, Sophie. So I saw.
No, we can't talk about.
Oh, we have to.
That's so embarrassing.
It's so good. I love the background that you had with the posters and the CDs. Wow, I mean, you're an old soul. You had CDs on the wall. I mean, I
did. Yes. Yeah. I would go out with my pocket money every week to HMV and buy the 3 for £10.
Wow. That's awesome.
And yeah, just stuck them up all over my wall. Had a lot of your stuff
inserts,
on there as well.
You had all the inserts from the magazines. I recognized a couple of them that we were on.
Your face was on my wall as a kid, which is kind of weird.
Well, when I was watching it, I was like, I know that one. I remember doing that one.
He looks familiar.
And you had a lot of Green Day. I saw some Green Day back there, going back to some of that alternative punk stuff. You know?
Oh, yeah. I love a bit of pop punk.
Yeah.
Loved it. But yeah, one of my first covers was Nightmare by...
I watched that one, and I watched your reaction.
No, you shouldn't watch it.
Oh, I had to. I mean, that was. I was like, "Yep, we're watching some of these." I watched the Backcountry, the Unholy Confessions one. I watched them all.
Oh my god, I forgot I did that one as well. Fucking hell.
Yeah.
That's why I haven't done any recently, because I'm like, those ones were so embarrassing. I just haven't.
No,
I got like PTSD.
Yeah, let those ones live in infamy. Those are fantastic. I mean, I loved your reaction to it too. That you're like, I'm not even sure if I tuned the guitar for that, and I was like, didn't really sound like it. I know that song pretty well. I'm not sure that's the right tuning, but
I gave it a good go, you know.
Oh yeah, no, it was awesome. I mean, I think it was rad to see. I think you were like 16 at the time, you know, and that's incredible. Like I
old enough to know better, really.
Well, I don't know about that. I mean, I did have a question though, because I know you went to school for guitar. And for performance, if I read correctly.
Yeah.
So you tell me a little bit about that, and which came first, the chicken or the egg, the YouTube videos or going to school for it?
Yeah, well, like I grew up in quite a small town called Henley-on-Thames, which is very sort of like a conservative town. Like there's no music scene at all really there. I didn't know, none of my family actually play instruments. None of my friends played instruments. So, I didn't know anyone growing up. So I guess I had a kind of unconventional...
Well, you said I'm sorry to interrupt though, but you did
All
say
right.
real quick your father was listening to a lot of music that influenced you, correct?
Yeah, like my dad's super into sort of like, rock and blues. And that's what and I sort of grew up in the kind of era of like the emo era, where like there was still a lot of like Avril Lavigne and like, Green Day and My Chem being played on the radio. So I sort of, and then my dad, was listening to all of the older stuff. So I was kind of surrounded by that music. But yeah, I didn't know anyone that actually played. There wasn't like a live music scene. And that's sort of why I turned to the internet, was because, I wanted to be in the scene, even though I didn't know anyone. Like that was sort of my way to reach out to people and meet people without, actually being in it. So I didn't study music at like secondary school or sixth form at all. It was mainly because I wanted to study at sixth form, but they were basically like, oh no, you can't, like, because I didn't play like violin or like piano.
Oh,
they were
okay.
like, no, you can't do guitar. So I was like, okay, whatever. And then, so I kind of didn't even think about studying it. And I actually applied to university to do forensic science. And yeah, which was cool. And I got a scholarship for that.
I'm coming back to that, but keep going on with the music.
Yeah. I got a scholarship, and like a week before I was meant to go, I was basically like, oh, I don't think this is really what I want to do. And, my parents are super, super supportive of everything. So they took me to an open day of this school called BIM, which is the British Institute of Modern Music. And I just absolutely loved it, because it was the first time I'd actually kind of seen and interacted with other musicians and been in a place where I felt like I belonged, if you know what I mean. Where I was like, oh my God, this is actually what I'm meant to be doing and where I'm meant to be. And these are the people I'm, meant to be like with, because I never had that before, because, my school was always, they were very preppy, no one really knew what like a rock music was. I'd, be listening to Avenged Sevenfold. And everyone would be like, oh, what?
So you're an outcast then.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So, that was sort of the first. So, luckily, like I said, my parents were so supportive and, allowed me to sort of take that risk of, sort of rejecting that scholarship and reapplying through UCAS Extra, which is like this university thing. And I managed to get in on. It's just like a late application for like people who don't apply.
Okay.
To uni. So it's like they can apply like a week before you're meant to like sign up for like any extra spaces going in courses.
Okay.
So, because usually you're meant to apply like a year before, to make sure you got the space. So it's kind of like a last minute thing. And yeah, so I stopped the scholarship and applied through that. And luckily I got in on the foundation course and started studying music there, which I've had mixed opinions on music school. Like I loved it. I'd say it really sucks the life out of music for you. Like I almost quit music so many times during that. I almost dropped out after my second year, because it's just like they really want to like mold you into this session musician that like plays jazz and like world, which is awesome, but it just, and like I really enjoyed learning about those things, but it wasn't what I wanted to do, if you know what I mean. Like it wasn't kind of the direction that because I really wanted to like write my own stuff and do that, and they really wanted to shape you into the session musician that
like
could
putting
play
parameters on art, which is
exactly.
I mean, if you're going into the session stuff like you explained, like that makes sense. You should be able to play anything and everything at a moment's notice. But if you want to be more of a creator, more of an artist in that field, you don't want any parameters, right?
Yeah, and we were kind of made to feel like at that like. Because obviously there was a lot of guitarists that was into rock music, and we were almost made to feel like that was sort of like the wrong music to be into, if you know what I mean. That like you weren't a proper guitarist if you weren't listening to like Snarky Puppy every day and like Average White Band and stuff.
Snarky Puppy, that's a fucking bring up right there. I love that. That's fantastic.
And it's like, yeah, I loved that stuff, and like we had to learn.
It's
like,
amazing. Like the musicianship
it's awesome.
is fucking
incredible. But it's like, I wanted to go home and play like Iron Maiden or something instead, and I didn't feel I kind of lost that because I was playing all of this like weird like oleo like jazz stuff all the time, practicing that I completely lost my kind of roots in rock. So I kind of fell out of love with it because like I said, that's what brought me into it was the sheer emotion and passion that rock music has, which I feel like is just think that, other genres have, but it's not quite so raw as in rock music, So that's what I loved about it. And it felt like that kind of got ripped away. So I almost quit. And then I ended up, long story short, I got super depressed and went into therapy. And my therapist was basically...
It was wait, no, that's sort of like graze over.
Well, no, it was that wasn't so much just for the music. It was just it was a lot of stuff. It was like a bad relationship and just like life in general. Just sort of, and it was, I just felt like I didn't really have a purpose because I'd lost my love for music and I was like, I don't know what I've done, but it wasn't like super serious or anything. I just felt like I needed to get like a little bit of help just to sort of help me on to the next stage of finding what I meant to do, if you know what I mean.
I mean, it's always good to, for everyone listening and stuff, I still see a therapist and stuff for monthly and stuff. It's good to have that. And mental health is something that doesn't get exercised enough. I feel like, people go working out on their body, go on hikes and everything we were talking about before, but at the end of the day, I feel like you got to start, between the ears.
Exactly. And it's so important. And I've felt like I'm pretty open about this. Like I talk about it all the time on stream and stuff. I just felt like I needed someone there to just help kind of guide me and get my mindset back. And, after I only, sort of did it for like a couple of months. And after that, I just felt I rediscovered my love for it, if you know what I mean, because instead I would basically take the things the music school taught me, like all the world stuff, and kind of turn it into, like I would come home, practice that stuff, but practice it in a way that like I would write a rock song with it, if you know what I mean, and like includes maybe some jazz chords that I'd learned in like this like slow bridge section or something like that. Like I'd sort of take the things they taught me and make it into my own stuff. And, that sort of...
I know another guy that did that too through MIT in California. I don't know if you've heard of him. His name's Sinister Gates. He did some jazz stuff for a long time.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Oh, I know. I haven't heard of him. Weird.
Yeah,
Definitely
he's
haven't tried to play any of those songs.
lesser known guy. You probably didn't have him on your walls or anything like that. But
no, definitely not. It was like when I rediscovered that love, it was so nice. And that's when I started writing, my first EP, and it was sort of got really, re-energized and re-inspired by it. And I would just sort of decided that I didn't care what grade I was going to get. Because before I was very like grade orientated, because I always wanted to get the first and the A stars and stuff, be a nerd. So, but I sort of was like, I don't care what grade I'm going to get. I just want to do it for me. And that's when I started writing, the Delusions EP. And
that's right. That came out in 2018, correct?
Oh yeah, a while ago. It feels like it's like a million years ago.
Well, I guess 2018 does seem like a long time ago. That's the last time I was on the road. So
was it? Oh my god!
And June of 2018, actually, on our European festival tour was the last time we were on the road.
Are you going on tour at all coming up?
Not this year. Doesn't look like it's happening this year. Probably next year.
Yeah, that's probably like the safer option, to be honest, because so many things being like still cancelled and stuff. Still don't.
Well, I mean, that definitely plays a part in our decision making, but it's not really like the end all. There's a lot of other things that we're developing and working on and stuff that we're just not ready. We want to make sure that we got to get the right crew together because a lot of the crews haven't returned. There's a lot that goes into behind the scenes. Everyone just we get it. I'm excited to get back out on the road. You have no idea. Like, I'm itching like crazy. I've been cooped up with a 5-year-old son for the last 4 fucking years. I want to get back out, okay, guys? Like, I know how crazy you guys want the new album, the new everything. I want it too. There's a lot that goes into it, okay?
Yeah, there is. It's crazy. You don't realize until you do it, like how much stuff goes into it.
And I don't fault them. I don't fault the fans for not knowing. There's nothing. How could you? I don't expect you to know.
Yeah, exactly.
But I can't divulge too much because there's still a lot of stuff. There's a lot of moving parts still. So it's
yeah, exactly.
It's a tough one to explain, right?
Yeah, definitely. Like, it's funny because just before the pandemic, like a week before like the sort of lockdowns hit, was my first ever like live show. Like, it's weird that I've kind of sort of entered to the music scene and stuff, not playing live at all in a kind of unconventional way, because it's sort of, my big growth was throughout, coronavirus, where everyone was kind of in lockdown. So I haven't actually really properly played live or like gone on a tour or something, which is really, which is so crazy. So
how are you going to, I had a question about that too. How are you going to take your music out on the road? I mean, I know that you record all of the guitars and bass, and your boyfriend plays the drums, correct? So how are you going to be looking to hire out some musicians to fill out those parts?
Well, we've sort of got a band that will do all the bits. So it's my boyfriend, drummer, a bassist, and a second guitarist. So we've sort of already got. And then obviously, because a lot of the stuff is instrumental, so we can sort of do it just us. And then we've got like a SPD with like all the backing tracks and stuff for like the weird effects. And if there's any, because sometimes I'll do like 14 layer harmony guitars, and which I'm sure you guys are familiar with.
Well, for a long time there wasn't the technology to get all those things. You kind of, some of them get lost, live, but. Now there's, not even now, that so much has happened since we've been on the road. So, I mean, the last time there was, fractals and things of that nature that Sin was using to get some of those extra ones in there, and Zachy was using to get some of those. There's a little tricks now that you could get some of those extra layers. So that it's pretty cool now.
Yeah, so we sort of use that stuff, and then obviously because we've got like. Our next album, we've got a different singer on each track, and we can't exactly, have, be like, oh, Matt, Brandon, Michael Starr, can you all come here for this one? We can't really get everyone together. So we're thinking either
holograms, just do holograms. I'm sure you have it in the budget.
That's actually what we're going to do. We're going to get like this sort of, like have everyone do a performance within like, I don't know, against like a black thing or something, and have this like big kind of virtual.
That's pretty cool.
Like kind of like a big screen or something, not like a projector, but like that kind of vibe, where they're sort of there, like at the same time, if you know what I mean. It'll sort of blend in. That's the idea anyway, but we'll see how
that sounds pretty cool. Yeah, I did see that you did the download vlog this last download festival. And you were talking to Andy really Copping, cool. And you think you're good? Is that going to be a reality? Are you going to be doing download this summer?
I don't know. It's sort of, they've had 2 years of like backed up artists, if you know what I mean. Yeah, so I won't be playing like as me. Yes, but we're probably going to be joining. I might be like joining another band for like a feature kind of.
Oh, cool.
Spot. But we need
we'll be looking out for the announcement on that. I won't put you to it right now, but I'll be looking out for the announcement on that.
Yeah, well, if Avenged Sevenfold are playing, I will, if ever.
I only want to see it with the background. I only want to see it with the posters behind you and the BC Rich. No, I'm just kidding.
But I'm really looking forward to to actually playing live, because I think. Something that I sort of talk about quite a lot is, I think, growing up sort of on the internet and not having the kind of, like I said, I grew up in a town that I didn't have a music scene, so I didn't really get to play live and stuff. So, and then being on the internet all the time, I sort of developed quite bad performance anxiety and imposter syndrome. So,
which is isn't that the title of the new record coming out?
Yeah, that's going to be the title of the new record. So this record's kind of like an ode to me. Just sort of trying to get over that as best as possible, really, because
that's super, that is super interesting. I didn't realize how deep it went, but just the fact that you did start out putting yourself out there at such an early age, just you had to develop a thick skin right away, right? I mean, how bad were some of the comments early on, or were they always positive? I mean, it's hard to say,
Yeah, like sort of back. Then I don't think I read the comments too much. Like, I didn't really know how the YouTube app worked. So
even better.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like, I don't know. So I sort of just uploaded it and left it. And then one day I looked back and I was like, oh my God, this has like 50,000 views. And then everything, started sort of growing. But yeah, some of them were really bad. Like I did a shred cover a few years back of Smells Like Teen Spirit by Nirvana. And that got like shared by like this thing called Radio X. And like all the comments on that were like awful. And that was sort of the first time I'd experienced like a really large influx of like hate and every comment being like negative and like derogatory and everything.
It's unfortunate.
So, but it affected me for like a couple of days. But after a while, I was sort of, I just tried to surround myself with good people that sort of keep me grounded. And like, you've sort of got to know what you're doing on the track you're on. Like, I feel like going through having therapy like that the few years prior, I had a lot of coping mechanisms where I didn't let it really get to me. So like a couple of days later, I was just like, fuck it. And I did another YouTube video which was basically, I sort of spoke a bit before, and I was like, you might have seen I've got a lot of hate, but, I don't want you guys to see that and think, oh, I can't play, this stuff, like people won't like it. So I'm going to prove you can shred over anything, and I'm going to shred over Justin Bieber, baby. And then I did like this big, exactly. And it was great. It was really fun. So it was like, you've just sort of got to say, fuck it. You've got to have a thick skin and just, believe in yourself, know where you stand, surround yourself with good people.
I did like that you picked some off the wall shred things too. Like I did see it's probably my favorite Christmas song of all time is All I Want for Christmas by Mariah Carey.
Oh yeah.
Like no joke, Christmas time, I mean, literally Thanksgiving Day, me and the family start listening to Christmas music. We're those kind of fucking weirdos. And
I love that.
That one's like straight away one of the ones we're playing, and it throughout the house, and we're all dancing. I mean, like picture, the different Johnny Christ, not the one in all black on stage. The one just in my pajamas walking around the house singing Mariah Carey.
Christmas jumper and all,
you know. Yeah, I get into it. I love it.
I love it as well. It's a banger, man. It's an absolute banger.
Yeah.
Those Christmas songs, you can't help but sing along.
Well, I've got one more thing I want to ask you, but we're going to go back to. But real quick, let's plug a few things. I know you got your Twitch channel that you've started over the last, was a year or so?
Sort of 6 months. I started in September, and that's going really well. Again, helping me overcome my performance anxiety and stuff. I'm doing a lot of playthroughs on there, and my boyfriend's getting an electric drum kit, so we're going to start sort of doing some virtual gigs until we can eventually, get an actual tour going later this year.
Very cool. And what is that handle there? That Twitch?
It's just Sophie Guitar on Twitch.
Sophie Guitar. Okay, cool. And then and obviously the YouTube channel, just Sophie Lloyd. Everyone can find that.
Yeah, Sophie Lloyd.
And all over social media. I know you started a TikTok as well. I
God, believe. Yeah, Sophie Guitar. I'm trying with TikTok, but I'm not very good at it. I'm too old, and that's
if you're too old, I feel better about the fact that I have no idea what the fuck's going on over there.
Yeah, I was actually trying today to do one of these transition videos of getting ready, and it was just I couldn't do it. It looks so fucking shit. I was like, I don't know how. It's a talent in itself. It's got to be said.
Right. Yeah, no, I'm not knocking it. I just I don't understand it.
No, neither do I at all. I have no idea.
I'm sure you'll figure it out though. I have the utmost faith in you, Sophie, that you'll be able to figure out this.
I'm trying. I've been on there for a year though, and I'm still no fucking wiser.
Well, once you figure it out, just let me know, so I'll figure out something I could do.
I will do. Yeah.
No one wants to see my old ass on TikTok. That's when you know TikTok's going to be done. When you see Johnny Christ over there, 2 weeks later, everyone's going to be like, that's not cool anymore.
Do you know what? I think you'd kill it though. I guarantee if you looked up, there's an A7X talk or something. There's always subgenres.
Okay.
I bet there's a whole subgenre.
Just what you just said to me doesn't make sense. So I'm going to go, cool. Yeah, that's perfect. Well, we plugged a few things. This is a wonderful conversation. I truly enjoyed getting to know you a little bit, Sophie, and congratulations on all your success from the early ages. It's so cool to see a different way of success for a guitarist like yourself, coming from a different avenue, not the traditional avenue in the rock world, which I think is absolutely fucking fantastic. And more people need to see that there isn't a formula. There's not a formula to this shit. You can you pave your own way. Pave your own way is the idea here. But before I absolutely let you go, I got to go back to this forensic science thing. What was it that brought you to forensic science? Did you want to be on scene on these these murder scenes and trying to figure out who done it?
Yeah, I'm the typical kind of basic white girl that loves the true crime documentaries and everything.
Like my wife, the basic.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, we would get on very well. But yeah, I love Dexter. I literally wanted to be Dexter, minus the
series.
murdering people, obviously. And
well, I mean, if it's your fantasy, you can do whatever you want with your fantasy.
Well, yeah,
so just
true.
don't do it. But if you,
yeah, I don't know, vigilante killer might be kind of cool.
It's kind of cool. It's kind of a not a bad gig.
Yeah. But yeah, I was always super into that, and I'm really into like science as well. I love like DNA analysis and like blood splatter analysis as well, and just like just the DNA and
how does one
matching things up and all that.
I'm very curious as to how one goes about getting a scholarship on this.
It's in the UK. I don't know whether it's like similar in the US, but like in the UK, basically, if you sort of get like pretty good grades, like I sort of was lucky enough to get A stars in my A levels. Mm-hmm. So if you get good grades and you write like a good letter and they want you there, they'll offer you a scholarship to sort of be, to make you choose there rather than any other university, if that makes sense. So I'm not sure. That's how it sort of, at least when I was at school, that was how it worked with that.
Yeah, so, I guess so. I mean, that is similar to, I mean, I didn't go to college yet or graduate high school, so I don't really know. But from what I understand, but you, at least here in the States, you kind of pick where you want to go with that academic achievement, and it kind of follows in line. So what were you doing in school that fell in line with blood splatter?
I was doing chemistry, biology, psychology, and art, because I couldn't do music, so I did art instead.
Wow.
So it was sort of all of the sciences that sort of led it that way.
So that goes to show everyone at home, musicians aren't all stupid. I might be, but Sophie's got a fucking brain on her.
Hey, I'm so stupid now, though, literally. Like, if you asked me anything, like, about anything at all, I wouldn't have any idea. Like, that's all gone in one ear, out the other now.
Next time we're going to do the Ouija board in person. We're going to bring up a whiteboard, and I'm going to ask you to do some chemistry equations for me.
We should do, like, are you smarter than a 10-year-old, you know?
And then we'll walk away like Channing Tatum in 21 Jump Street. Fuck you, science. And then...
It's everything blowing up behind me as well.
Yeah, it'll be fucking fantastic. And by then we'll have a bigger budget for this show, so I'll be able to put those
we'll be able to have the special effects.
Absolutely,
that's essential. Yeah.
Need it. All right, Sophie, I'm going to let you go about the rest of your night. Thank you so much for being here. Cheers, and let's keep in touch and do this again sometime.
Yeah, definitely, man. Thank you so much for having me on here. It's been such an honor to speak to you and be on this show.
Pleasure's all mine.
Thanks,
Cheers.
man. Have a good day. Bye.